12 December 2020, and I'm joined by MDC-T Secretary General, Senator Douglas Mwonzora. How are you, sir?
I'm very much okay. Thank you very much for having me on your show. I feel very, very privileged indeed.
Fantastic. And today we're going to have two parts in our show. We're going to initially have a discussion, and then after about 30 minutes, we're going to open the floor for people from home to ask you questions. So, Senator Mwonzora, I saw you today traveling. You were out of Harare. Can you tell us what you were doing and what is happening?
Sorry, I lost you there. Sorry about that.
Okay, I'm saying we saw you this afternoon. You were out and about. Was that a campaign? What was happening?
Yes, I was in Mashonaland West. I was in Chinoi, to be specific. And I was winding up my campaign in that province. We are meeting delegates to Congress, where we are setting our agenda, should we be elected, or to show them why we should be elected. Yesterday, I was in Mashonaland Central, and today I was in Mashonaland West, meeting the delegates and talking to them about my program for the party, my proposed program for the party, and the proposed program for the country. And I'll say that I have been receiving very, very good attendances, very, very good feedbacks from our members. They seem to accept my message. They seem to identify with it.
Okay, so can you take us through the process? What is going to happen from today until the Extraordinary Congress?
First of all, tomorrow the Independent Electoral Commission is going to meet all the candidates, all the four candidates. Dr. Kupe, Dr. Kupe, Engineer Elias Muzuri, Senator Morgan Kwamiche, and myself to discuss the rules of the election. This is a single issue Congress where we are simply going to elect the late Morgan Tsvangirai. So there will be the meeting today. After the meeting tomorrow, sorry. After the meeting tomorrow, then there will be the issue of ballot printing. They will print the ballot using a private person or private company. We will do ballot proofing on Tuesday. After that, we will distribute resources, financial resources, to the provinces for the delegates. The provinces do not have the same number of delegates. For example, in Manicaland, we have 26 districts, while in Matabeleland North, we have 13 districts. In the MDC constitution, a district is equivalent to a constituency. So the resources are going to be sent there to the districts to ferry the people, to help ferry the people to the Congress venue. We are not to provide accommodation. People are simply going to come to the venue, get accredited, they vote, and they leave. This is because we are in abnormal times. We have the COVID-19 problem to deal with. So they will come and vote in batches of 100. First of all, we take a province, and the province comes in. And after the province has got in, we now divide it into batches of 100. Each batch will be led by a COVID compliance officer. These are 20 in number. We have looked at them. We have trained them, and they will lead each team to make sure that we are 100% compliant. We have made provisions for security, and we are very, very happy about the security. This is because we know that there are people who want to destroy this program. They want to disturb this program. They have said it, and we are just ready for that. After the election, after the election, the voting, then there will be a process of collation by the Independent Electoral Commission. And this Independent Electoral Commission is made up of members from the ZCTU, church organizations, as well as civil society. The person heading the Independent Electoral Commission is the Deputy Secretary General of the Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions. They will deal with the voters' roll. We have completed the voters' roll now, and we will surrender it to them, I think, on Monday or Tuesday, because right now the voters' roll is being verified by the districts, by the provinces, so that if anybody does not find their name, then we can take corrective action. So the Independent Electoral Commission will have those voters' rolls, and we will, as the administration, as the leadership of the MDC, have nothing to do with the election until after counting. So the program will be in the hands of security as well as the Independent Electoral Commission.
Okay, so when are the actual elections, the extraordinary Congress elections, and who is going to be able to participate? Who is eligible to participate?
The date for the Congress is the 19th of December 2020. That is this coming Saturday. And the venue will be the Harare International Conference Center, or commonly known as the Sheraton. We will be using the big auditorium. The people who are eligible to come are members of the MDC-T. And this is very, very important. Those people who have left the party or who have joined other political parties cannot be eligible either as delegates, voters, or as candidates. In terms of clause 511 of the constitution of the MDC, if you join another political party or form another political party or support another political party, you automatically terminate your own membership. We are emphasizing on this because here the MDC-T wants to choose its leader. So we cannot allow other political parties to come and help us choose our leader, because by that fact, they will be choosing their own opponent. It is akin to Dynamos choosing a coach for Highlanders, and that is unfair. So those who are members of the MDC-T, who have not joined other political parties, who have not formed other political parties, are eligible. And so far, what we have seen is that the figure is coming to somewhere slightly under 3,000. But the figure may increase because verification is going to take place, and so we may have omitted certain people inadvertently, but those will be added. We are also not sure of the figures from the diaspora, whether they are going to be able to make it. This is going to be a physical election. It's not going to be a virtual election, because we discounted that, because problem with the virtual is that the secrecy of the vote is then lost. We also looked at connectivity to the majority of our people, most of whom are in the rural areas. So we are going to have a physical Congress. Ballot papers are going to be printed. It is going to be a normal vote. And the people who are on the ballot paper are, as I've said, Tokozani Kupe, Morgan Komichi, Elias Muzuri, and Douglas Mwonzora. The ballot paper will have the names of the candidates and their pictures. And we are going to deal with the security features on the ballot paper to avoid duplication of the ballot paper. And we are going to increase our security. And we have made very, very concrete and elaborate arrangements regarding security.
Okay. There is a bit of confusion, or maybe a clarification that is required. If you are currently the Secretary General if you win this election, you become the president, what happens to your position? And if Dr. Kupe, who is vice president, wins, what happens to your position?
Oh, thank you very much. In terms of the constitution of the MDC, whenever the substantive holder of the position leaves that position for whatever reason, the deputy takes over. So automatically, Madame Pariwa will take over my position as the Secretary General, acting Secretary General. We will have to look for the Deputy Secretary General. Fortunately, in terms of the constitution of the MDC, the President is allowed, subject to the confirmation of the National Council and the National Executive, to appoint deputies to members of Congress. I'm just hoping that in that regard, we will simply have movement of people. The next position from Deputy Secretary General comes in and fills that Secretary General position. We have no intention of doing away with anybody. We want everybody to remain in the party, to remain in the leadership. This is only gut feeling for the president who we unfortunately lost in 2018. So we hope that it will be a peaceful process. We also hope that those who win will do so magnanimously, and those who do not succeed will support he or she who have succeeded. So if Madam Kupe, for example, was to win this election, then Senator Komichi will move up and become the vice president. We will have to look for a national chairman. That is if the National Council thinks that way. Or alternatively, we can leave the place vacant and have the president and then the national chairman, the Secretary General, etc.
Okay. I think that is very, very clear. And I just wanted to notify you that I've got a number of people who want to talk to you. So I'm going to ask you the last question before we ask Ngozi to join and ask you a question. Sure. And the question that I want to ask you is, how confident are you of winning based on the work that you've already done?
What I know from the comments from the people, from the support that I can see for myself, and from the researches that I've done and so on, I think I have very, very good chances of winning this election. And some of my researchers, as well as members of my strategic team, we are putting us at 70%, and which is a very, very high score. I think that we will win convincingly in 9 out of 12 provinces. We will share with, I think with Madame Kupe, we will share the votes in Matabeleland and so on. But definitely, I think we will win Manicaland, we will win Harare, Marsh East, Marsh West, Marsh Central, Midlands North, Midlands South. We will win that. Harare, Chitungwiza, and so on. There are certain provinces where we will do very, very well. I expect to win in Matabeleland South, for example. I expect that in Bulawayo, we are likely to be 50-50 with Madame Kupe. I do not expect Mr. Mzuri and Mr. Komich to fare very well in that part of the country. But I think that I'll win Matabeleland South for a very, very good reason. Matabeleland North, I think I will score at least 40%. But I probably, my score is between 40 and 60%. It is actually possible for me to win that. But I am not overconfident about it, because I am campaigning against the people who know what they are doing, who know their stuff, who also have a campaign, who have campaign strategies that I may not know about. And I do respect them very, very well. I respect Madame Kupe, Senator Komichi, Senator Mzuri as being strategic people. So this is going to be a battle, of course. but it looks like the odds are in our favor.
Okay, I think, Senator, you have answered this very, very clearly. 70%, that is what you expect. So I would like to invite Nkosi to ask you a question. Nkosi, the rules are you have to ask Senator Mwonzora the question, and it's not for comments, it's for you to ask him a question to respond to you. And please remember, we've got a lot of people watching, so keep the language very, very clean. Okay, I've unmuted you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Correctly.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Yeah, good evening, Kambako and Mr. Mwonzora. What I want to ask Mr. Mwonzora, as the elder to the party, as a person who has been into the party for more than 20 years, what I need to understand and ask him is this about the party, which is going through at this present moment. Was it not going to be an easy thing and going to be something which will be good to everybody? That they compromise everybody who is on the campaign to be the president at the moment and choose one person who will be there maybe for this coming election. Because at this present moment, the things they look like this campaign which is happening, there are more divisions into it. So I'm scared that if they continue like this, I don't know what will happen. So I don't know what Senator Mwonzora will answer me about that, because what I think is, in a democracy, there is supposed to be a compromise candidate who is going to represent the party, because at the present the party is weak, and Senator Mwonzora knows that the party.
Okay, Nkosi, thank you very much. Please give Senator Mwonzora a chance to answer. Please watch from Facebook or from YouTube.
Oh, thank you very much, Nkosi. Thank you for that very, very important question. In fact, a lot of our supporters were asking, why don't you just sit down and come to a compromise, look for one candidate and then just put that person. We did try that, and I want to be honest with you that there were a number of arguments that were put for each candidate. Madam Kupe, for example, argument being that she was the senior anyway, and that she is the acting president, and therefore we can just catapult her to being the president at the extraordinary Congress. You had other people coming with other arguments as well. But my argument was we need a president that will attract the support, more support than others, and so on. So we could not agree, and we therefore say that our people
Right. I think we have a bit of a challenge with Senator Mwonzora's connection. So I hope you'll be able to join us. So Nkosi, you heard what he was saying. He was saying that they already considered this, and this is something that he thinks will not work because they want to pick the best person to represent the party.
In their, I think their primaries were almost close to 10, I think. There were quite a number of them, but it went down, and right now they have a president-elect in the Democratic Party in the United States. It is what people do with democracy, and mostly what people do in the aftermath of an election that is important. Fortunately, we have agreed as the candidates that after the election, we have to make sure that the losers are accommodated. And fortunately, in this election, if a person loses, they go back to their position. We expect that they will not undermine the winner and so on. But there is nothing wrong with people contesting each other. what you see as divisions are simply, I think, manifestations of highly competitive people. People want to win and so on. But you will see that most of the negativity is coming from our respective supporters. We need to address them. This is not war. This is a campaign. This is a contest and so on. And if I have my way, and if I was to win as president, Madam Coupe will retain her position as the vice president that she was. I wouldn't touch her position within parliament because I think there are more important things that the new president has to look at and has to deal with. We need to bring this party back to its founding values. The values, the social democratic values, the values of freedom, justice, equality, rule of law, constitutionalism, democracy, etc. We also need to structurally deal with this party. Our impression is that the MDC is strong when it comes to structure. Strategy is okay, but it is weak when it comes to culture. Over the few years after Tsvangirai had died, there was criminalization of competition. So we want to decriminalize competition. The people who are contesting me are not committing any crime at all. In fact, they are enhancing democracy, and therefore they have to be tolerated, and vice versa. So we are bringing in a new culture in our organization.
Okay, so Nkosi, thank you very much for joining this conversation. Please leave the studio. I want to bring to attention Senator Mwonzora a question here about is there scope after the extraordinary Congress for talks with other alliance partners, such as the MDC Alliance?
Oh, thank you very much, Jacob Mchuchuti, I think. Thank you very much for that question. And it's a question that, genuine question that Zimbabweans are asking, because Zimbabweans want a united opposition. And our late founding father, Morgan Tsvangirai, had the philosophy, the Big Tent philosophy. So yes, there is scope that we will work with our brothers within the MDC Alliance. But there are certain certain things that we need to deal with. The association with the G40 is a very, very important factor. We hope that we will discuss these things as the opposition, as the MDC family. And we are very, very open to that. And we hope that the MDC Alliance are not going to disturb our Congress and so on, because that destroys the future prospects of working together. But there is nothing wrong with working together. In fact, we want to unite the opposition. Not only the MDC Alliance, we will talk to other political parties, Zandonga, Zimbabwe People First, etc. We will talk with other political parties because there is strength in unity, there is strength in working together. But this must be predicated on certain values. And the values that we will insist on are those values, the lack of practice which led to our ideological rupture within the MDC. We need to agree on constitutionalism. We need to agree on decriminalization of competition. We need to agree on democracy. We need to agree on going back to our founding values. So yes, Jacob, there is a possibility that we will discuss and work together, who knows, with our brothers in the MDC Alliance. But I should say that the atmosphere is really bad at the moment. There was extreme polarization. There was a lot of name calling. There was a lot of dehumanizing comments and so on. But I was the greatest recipient of that. And that is fortunate, actually, because I do have the temperament to absorb all that. And I have forgiven already those people who have said bad things about me. They were angry. They did not understand what was going on. They thought I was in the wrong and so on. And this is to be expected. I have also seen people who have criticized me quite a lot. Petsai Rohanya is one of them. And so on. There is a guy called Jairus, Majaira Jairus. I hope it's his correct name. They have criticized me a lot. But let me just say, I will die defending their right to criticize. It is part of democracy. It must be encouraged. Instead of us getting angry, getting unhappy that people are criticizing us, we must actually look at the criticism and look at it objectively and deal with it. So I'm not angry at those people who have done that. But of course, there were a lot of untrue things said as well. For example, that I was being sponsored by ZANU-PF. That was very, very hurtful. It was how I felt is exactly how Steve Biko would have felt if his colleagues within the liberation movement in South Africa had accused him of being part of the apartheid regime. The way he would have felt is the way I felt. But Mandela taught us also that we must never allow bitterness to cloud our judgment. Fortunately, I'm not bitter. Fortunately, my judgment is very, very clear.
Okay, let's go to the issue of dialogue with the current president, Idim Mnangagwa. There was a dialogue that had started, which the South Africans were trying to push between the opposition in Zimbabwe and ZANU-PF. Do you still think that's relevant? And when you win next week, are you going to make steps? And what steps are you going to take to revive that dialogue?
Yes, very much indeed. Dialogue is the way to go. And if I can just refer to history, the liberation war of Zimbabwe, the National Liberation War, ended in dialogue at the Lancaster House Conference. The very unproductive and destructive genocide in Matabeleland, the Gukura Hundi, that one-sided fight, it ended with the signing of the Unity Accord after dialogue between ZANU-PF and PF-ZANU. And after 2008, after the brutal 2008 runoff election, the parties had to sit down and conjure up a global political agreement, which ended up producing a government of national unity that Zimbabweans objectively benefited from. So there is always wisdom in dialogue, because dialogue has many advantages. Number one, nobody leaves the table empty-handed in a dialogue. Number two, it is bloodless, it is painless, and so on. So it is the way to go. And I think that dialogue has to have three facets. It must be genuine, it must be inclusive, and it must be unconditional. If Zimbabwean people want to resolve their issues and they want to embark in dialogue, they must not put preconditions to it. So therefore, we accept the coming of the South Africans. And the initiative by President Ramaphosa is very, very important. It is a neighbor who is worried about what is happening in next door, and they are trying to help. And we must cherish that. We must thank the South Africans for that. So yes, the MDC-T will be part of the dialogue. We discussed that at the National Council level, and we are in agreement. We also have already prepared a position paper. We also have prepared talking points or talking areas to discuss with the central government. We are not going to be in opposition that just criticizes. We are going to point out exactly which reforms we need. For example, we in the area of election, we are going to push for the diaspora vote quite vigorously and so on. But we are not only going to do that. We have asked one of our people in the United Kingdom that he prepares a document which answers the critical questions that the opponents of the diaspora vote are asking. So we will present that to the Ministry of Justice, which is the ministry overseeing the election system in Zimbabwe. We will also present it to other political parties. It's not a document that we are saying is cast in stone. We are saying that they can add to it, they can subtract to it, but we are coming to the table with a definite set of ideas. And I think this is the way the opposition must go.
Okay, you can see the next question.
Is there a crisis in Zimbabwe? Denmark Timber.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a crisis in Zimbabwe. And the crisis is multifaceted. We have the crisis of the economy. You have the crisis of debilitating poverty. You have the crisis of corruption. You have the crisis of uneven development. You have the crisis of the injustice done to the local communities. For example, in Manicaland, in Marange area, you find diamond fields there. But next to those diamond fields, you see some of the poorest and unhappiest Africans on earth. That ought not to be. If you go north to the Zambezi, Tongaland, what I call Tongaland, the land that is bordering the Zambezi, the people there, the Batonga, the Nambia, they've populated that area for generations. And yet they are regarded as poachers in the Zambezi. And they do not have fishing rights in the Zambezi. We need to redress that. That is a social, communal injustice that we must deal with. And we need to give them, I think, fishing rights. We need to give fishing rights to the local community. So we have a lot of things that we must deal with. We have the crisis of contested legitimacy. Every time after an election, there is a contest about that election. So we need to fix our electoral system so that it is acceptable. We need to have an electoral system that guarantees the secrets of the vote, the security of the vote, and the security of the voter.
Okay. I think that's very clear. You have pinpointed the crisis. I just wanted to ask you about the crisis in the councils. You didn't touch on that. Yes. Your party is in charge of the councils. In Harare, Bulawayo, all these councils, and yet they're in shambles. Do you see that as a crisis caused by the MDC or by ZANU-PF?
First of all, I want to unpack the crisis that is in the councils, inherent in the councils, before I go to the accountability of who is to blame. We have a crisis of poor service delivery. We also have the problem of corruption by some of the councillors. Not all councillors are corrupt. There are a few councillors who are corrupt, and we cannot paint everybody with the same brush. And we have just lately, we have had sadistic demolitions of dwellings in a rainy season, as if people did not know of those dwellings in the dry season. They wait until it is almost Christmas and until it is raining heavily to demolish those houses. We do not accept that. We do not agree with that, and we will correct that. But the problem of apportioning the blame within the councils there is a problem there, because you have an MDC mayor and MDC councillors, but you also have a ZANU-PF minister of local government. You also have a local government board appointed by the government. And then you have the key technical people within council, not appointed by the councillors themselves, but appointed by the local government board. So you have everybody in council, you have ZANU-PF in council at different levels with the MDC in that council. And that presents an accountability problem. But also, these councils rely on central government for the allocation of foreign currency. And therefore, we did understand our councillors when they were decrying the shortage of water treatment chemicals, because they were saying to us that the money, the foreign currency, comes from central government, and it is up to central government to prioritize that. But I want to make a proposition. The proposition is that with the principle of devolution, the central government must interfere, must only come into the local government if there is a crisis. Otherwise, there must be autonomy in the administration of local authority.
Okay, I think I want to call you one day so that we can have a full session on the councils, because I think the answer you've given us is at a high level. It satisfies the question, but I want us to go deeper, maybe after a week or two when we finish the elections. The next question is from Mr. Juru. It's on the screen. How is someone from Mushumbi going to vote at the EOC?
Oh, it is very nice to hear from Dennis Juru, my young brother. I hope you are okay. I'm sure that your business is doing well. I just hope that it is doing well. I also send your greetings to your wife and kids. The voting, Mr. Juru, is going to be physical. The Congress is going to be physical. That means that the voters are going to be ferried from all over the country in transport which is provided by the party, and they are going to come to the Congress venue and vote. So somebody from Mushumbi, and I hope I know the Mushumbi you are talking about. I think Mashonaland Central. They will be provided with transport to come to Harare and vote there. So it's going to be a physical vote. I think that Mr. Juru thought that it was going to be a virtual vote.
Okay. So I think it's clear. We are clear with the Extraordinary Congress. You have explained this. I've seen you on many platforms, and many people now know what is going to happen on Saturday. When are we going to know who has won?
We hope that we will know who has won that Saturday. In fact, the plans we have put into place, we are likely to finish the voting process by 1 o'clock. We are going to start around 7. And people are going to come in batches of 100 per province. We do not expect everybody to turn up, of course. We do expect troublemakers to come and try to derail that. We have made provision for that. So we are going to have the results that Saturday.
Okay, and Abednego Bebe, has his court challenge been finalized? What is going to happen there?
The court challenge by Abednego Bebe that I know of relates to his suspension. He was suspended by the president for what he had done in terms of the constitution of the party. He challenged that suspension, and that is the matter that is pending before the courts. But after his suspension, he was actually expelled from the party. He hasn't challenged that expulsion. So his suspension, his challenge for the suspension has been overtaken by events. And he did tell me at one point in time that his lawyers were going to challenge his expulsion. He has not done that. And I don't know what is going to happen, but it doesn't stop anything. He did not file his application as an agent application. And it is a normal application. It has been opposed by our party and so on. But he was expelled as a result of disciplinary issues that were alleged to have been committed by him, and therefore I just hope that his matter will be finalized, but it won't affect our Congress. What is important also is that the nominations were then done by the National Council. He was not nominated, and therefore he is not a factor in this election.
Okay, I think it's very, very clear, and we've talked for approximately 40 minutes. We've answered a lot of questions, and I want us to wrap it up. I want to give you a chance to say what will happen. What is it that you will change in the MDC when you become president next week?
First of all, it is important to bring the MDC back to the founding values. But I am looking at 5 key issues to start with. First of all, we need to make sure that from the president to the branch chairman, we must have any elected leadership. So in order for you to get into a leadership position in the MDC, you must be elected. That's number 1. Number 2, we must have collective leadership. We must never have individualism as part of leadership. We must have collective leadership. So we are going to bring that culture. Third, we are going to bring democratic decision making. Before any major decision is arrived at or implemented at national level, the cadres of the party, the members of the party at the lower level must be given an opportunity to input into that decision. Then number 4, we must always, when we do candidate selection, we must always look at, we must always do that through primary elections, which are free and fair. We are going to work towards eliminating of hate language, slander, and so on, and publication of falsehoods. I've seen a question, and Ndodana Ndlovu has raised that question. It is relating to the issue of what he calls the theft of party funds that came in the social media, and I think that it is fair that I respond to that. This is the work of people who are just slanderers, who do not know the administration of funds within the MDC. The administration of the funds within the MDC is governed by 2 things. First of all, there's the constitution. The second is the finance and administration. Those rules and procedures do clothe certain officials with the power of discretion in emergencies. In other words, where there is an emergency, the Secretary General can make certain decisions that are of an emergency nature, and can always justify that. And I also want to say that it is impossible to remove money from the MDC-T account when you are a single individual. It is not possible at all. It is also impossible to remove money without any of the colleagues knowing that. In the issue that is doing the rounds right now, we had an emergency. One of our lawyers, whom we owe quite a lot of fees, had a bereavement in the family, and it was during the weekend. He needed help and so on, and I exercised discretion after the finance director had raised the necessary paperwork to me for authorization, and I authorized that. So what happens is the people who want to make payments are not the people who authorize. So the transaction in question was processed by the director of finance, and I did authorize it because I knew that this was an emergency. I knew that we owed this person some resources, and this was explained. But why it is taking all of this is because there is Congress and there is somebody to throw mud at. But I'm not very worried about that. I'm a very, very experienced administrator. I'm an experienced Secretary General who has served under 4 presidents. I served under Morgan Tsvangirai. I served under Mwonzora when he was acting president. I served under Chamisa when he was president. And I have served under Thokozani Kupe. What we do in the MDC is that there is a financial probity and there is accountability. The standing committee, the finance and administration committee was advised of this emergency. We use discretion, and there are certain amounts that the treasurer, even without the other person, can authorize, subject of course to ratification and so on. But this was an emergency, and I felt that it was inhumane not to do anything about it. But of course, my critics want to try to use that as an election tool. Unfortunately, it is not available, and I am open to investigations. Anybody who wants to investigate, come to see the documents at the MDC is free to do that. Certainly, the president, my president, Thokozani Kupe, knows about it, and all the leadership. So there is no issue. We are holding more money than that, and we have held more money than that. But what is important also, is that where people think that something has gone wrong, they must talk about it. And I'm very happy that some of the members were talking about it because they thought that something was wrong. It is not right to keep quiet. So I do accept, and I do congratulate, and I do respect those people who have been raising these questions. I hope I've explained that, and I hope that you see my point of view. Somebody has lost their mother. They are your lawyer. You owe them more than what they are asking for, and you use discretion. World over, discretion is used.
Okay, I think that is well answered, and I really respect the level of detail that you've gone into. And I think many people here who had questions about this issue have been answered. I want us to bring this to an end. You were on point number 3. You said everyone should be elected. What is the other points?
Everybody should. You must have an elected leadership. You must have collective leadership. You must have democratic decision making. And when it comes to candidate selection, we must always be democratic about it. And there must be free and fair primary elections. We must bring back the MDC to its founding values. And we must undo what my friend Advocate Chamisa's leadership had done to the party. Criminalization of competition, concentration of power in a few people or in one person, and so on, and quite erratic decision making. I know Nelson Chamisa has a lot of good attributes. He is an articulate young man, he is convincing and so on, but I don't think administration is his strong attribute. I do not think leadership is his strong attribute, but I think he has a lot of room to improve, and I look forward one day to share leadership with him once more. We are not enemies. I want to tell you this. We are not enemies at all. My issues with him are not personal. My issues with him were institutional, and everybody knows that.
Okay, so now that you have covered the internal issues, let's go to the important issue of the 2023 election. What is your strategy for that election? When are we going to see your plan for winning the 2023 elections?
Well, the detailed plan will be unveiled later, but I want to tell you the skeletal plan right now. The first most important thing that we will embark on immediately after 19 December is to initiate key electoral reforms. We have a lot of Zimbabweans who are of voting age, who are not being allowed to vote. Zimbabweans in the diaspora and so on. So we have over 4 million Zimbabweans who are of voting age, who are in the diaspora. And we want to enfranchise these Zimbabweans. Zimbabweans in the diaspora are being encouraged by the president. I think Mr. Mnangagwa, when he did his State of the Nation address, pointed out to the centrality of the diaspora in the economic development of Zimbabwe. But that is a responsibility. You cannot have responsibility without rights. So the people in the diaspora should be given the chance to vote. So we are going to concentrate quite a lot on that. We are also going to deal with the issue of reforms. Reforms of our institution, reforms of abuse of certain institutions for political support. But importantly also, we are going to start preparing our polling agents for the 2023 elections, starting August 2021. By the end of 2021, we must be done with the preparations, the preparations for the election. 2022 is campaign year, where we are going to be dealing with the various sectors. For example, we have a specific strategy of the farming communities. The communities where land was given. We do not advocate for the re-expropriation of the land, but we advocate for justice and so on. And when we look at compensation for the white farmers and the black farm owners, we also see that the government omitted the compensation of the black farm workers. And we are talking of thousands of people here. And we want these people to be compensated as well. We are also going to be dealing with the compensation of the victims of violence. Gugula Hundi, 2008, violence, post-2018 elections, violence. But what is important is to look at those factors that make our election unfree and unfair. The problem in Zimbabwe is not the person who wins. It about who wins the election. It is about the acceptability of that. I think I am confident that the MDC needs a leader who has strategic skills, a leader who has planning skills, and so on. But a leader who doesn't regard a competitor as an enemy, and so on. So we will be discussing quite a lot with people in ZANU-PF, in Parliament. That is, we will be sharing ideas on how to make our country better. We will be sharing ideas with our brothers and sisters within the opposition. When it comes to dialogue, I think the mistake is for people to think that the answer lies with political parties only. And that is why I have a few misgivings relating the composition of Poland. It is political actors, and I do accept that. But political actors are not the only people who have solutions. We have non-political actors. We have the churches. We have the trade unions. We have business. We have civil society. These people must be brought in and be part of the dialogue. And I will be pushing that they be included in the dialogue.
Okay. I think also what we need to do is to give you more time on your 2023 presidential campaign. And I promise that I'm going to give you as much time as possible to unpack what you've just said at a high level now. We've got Ngwarati on the screen. Ngwarati, I need you to have more light. I want to see your face before I can add you. Is it possible for you to have more light? Because we cannot see you. I think Senator Mwonzora, I can't see him also, no, but he's on the screen. So Ngwarati, please put more light on your face so that we can see you, and then I'll unmute you. Then I want to give you a chance to talk about the demolitions. You already talked about the high-level issues. What do you think should be done about the demolitions that have happened in Chitungwiza, in Budiriro? There are demolitions that happened in the rural areas of Goromonzi. what should be done? What is wrong with the way housing is being done in Harare?
First of all, in terms of our constitution, you cannot evict a person from a dwelling without offering them alternative accommodation. That is a constitutional right. So before demolitions are done, people must be given alternative accommodation. And remember, most of the homeowners are innocent people who were offered this land. For example, in Chitungwiza, we know that they actually bought the land, but the land was demolished. We cannot expect members of the public to know whether the land that they are being offered, either by councillors or by city officials, should not be allocated at all. We don't expect people to know that. And therefore, before we can demolish anybody's dwelling, we must offer alternative accommodation. That's number one. Number two, we must never carry out demolition in a rainy season. It is sadistic, it is cruel, it is unfair, it is unconscionable, it is inhumane. And we have seen a lot of innocent people stranded in the rain. Besides their houses being demolished, the little property that they have is destroyed by the weather, and that is very, very unfair. And I think we are going to summon our councillors next week after the election, after the Congress. We are going to summon our councillors. I have had conversation today with Mayor Jacob Mafume, and we are going to have a small meeting, I think, tomorrow, for him to explain to us regarding the role of council, if any, regarding the demolitions. But they were sadistic, and we don't accept them.
Okay, I want to give the two gentlemen that are on the screen 2 minutes each. So I'm going to start here with Mkoma Nomen. So Mkoma Nomen, I've unmuted you. What question do you want to ask Senator Mwonzora? Okay, I think he's not hearing me. So I'm going to give Mkoma Raymond a chance. Please proceed with your question.
Good evening, Advocate Douglas Mwonzora. Nice talking to you. Mine is more like an analysis of what is happening in the MDC in general. Right. If we are to look at the 2023 election, we are only left with 2 years. I don't count 2023 because it's the year of elections. But if I am to look at the way the infighting within the MDC, the recalling, and the division, I mean, I'm doubting, as a mathematician, I'm doubting if the MDC within 2 years can come together and win the 2023 election. To me, it's like you are giving ZANU-PF election on a silver plate. I mean, why is it that you can't work together? What's difficult? I mean, why can't you enjoy in your differences? Why can't you cherish your differences? Why is it that what I'm seeing in MDC is name calling about each other? You go to the internet, this one is fighting this one is fighting this one is throwing stone at this one. You are not united. And your chance of winning elections are limited. Are you for the people? Or you are just for power? That's my question. Because I'm not going to talk about election coming, I mean the December election. Those are obvious. Mathematically, you are the president. I'm sorry to say this, but mathematically, you are the president. What are you going to do to unite the MDC? Because I don't want to see MDC in court. I don't want to see MDC fighting against each other. But what I want to see a solid, united MDC ready to challenge ZANU-PF. That's what I want to see. That's where I want to put my donation to. Not to say, can I put my donation to Dr. Kupe? Can I put it to Dr. Mwonzora? Can I put it to Chamisa? I mean, guys, why are you fighting each other? Why can't you try to uplift each other? Let me take you back to the Bible. You see, when Moses his hand was being uplifted, the Israelites were winning the war. But the moment Moses' hand was down, Israelites were losing the war. They were not taking over the leadership of Moses, but they were uplifting the hand of Moses. Coming back to you guys, why can't you uplift your leader, whoever is going to be your leader, the hand? No one is perfect. I don't think you are perfect. But what I want to see, I want change. I want change. Because you are killing generation and generation to come. Because I don't see things in Zimbabwe changing in a short space of time. Because things are hard. We're in the diaspora, not because we want to be there, but we are looking forward to an alternative. But when I look at the way you are fighting among yourself, to me, you are more like, with due respect, you are more like a laughing stock. Because honestly, I want to see when you win the election. I'm challenging you, Honorable Mwonzora, but I know you are winning this election. I am challenging you. When you come from the Congress, take Chamisa, take everybody, unite them, work together as a family, bury your difference, swallow your pride, work as a team, and you win the elections. Look at what happened in Gambia. When the opposition united, they won the election. You need to be united to win the election. You don't need to, the least thing Chamisa must do is to shout about you in public. The least you must do is to shout at Chamisa back in public. The least Dr. Tokozani Kupe must do is to shout at Chamisa, you are twins. You are a family. That's all I want to say.
Mama Raymond, I hear you. So I think let's give Senator Mwonzora a chance to respond. Senator Mwonzora, you can hear the emotion, the goodwill that people have towards you.
Yes.
What do you have to say about what Mama Raymond is saying?
Thank you very much, Raymond. And I want to assure you that we are very sensitive to feelings like that. And I want to tell you that he probably represents the majority of Zimbabweans. They don't want a party that is in turmoil. They don't want a party that is at war with itself. And they want a united party which is capable of winning elections. We do agree with that. And I have said before that we need to change the politics of our country. We need to remove the politics of hate, politics of violence, rancor, acrimony, and intolerance, and replace it with a politics of rational disputation. The problem that you saw in the MDC was a problem of extreme intolerance and criminalization of competition. That's number one. Number two, we did not have enough artifacts. We did not have effective dispute resolution mechanisms. Look at the reasons why MDC has split. If you look at 2005, it was over whether or not to participate in a Senate election, and people split. If you look at why it split in 2014, it was over leadership dispute, whether there should be renewal or not. And right now, we are split as a result of failure to adhere to the constitution and so forth. That is regrettable. We need to deal with that. That is why I said that one of the things that needs attention to the MDC is culture, the culture of tolerance and so on. I am willing and able to work with my friends within the opposition. I'm willing and able to work with civil society, and that calls for tolerance. So first of all, the leader must have the correct temperament. I have seen a lot of mistakes by other leaders and so on. And I think that when I become the leader, I will avoid those mistakes. But we need to work together. There is a sense in working together. But assuming that that fails, I just want to say that it doesn't spell gloom, Raymond. Look at Zabu split into Zabu and Zanu. And Zanu went on to form a government. In 2005, the MDC split, I think it was in October, Wolfman moving that way, and Chandra moving that way. And in 2008, Chandra went on to win the election. Of course, the 8% by Simama Poli, they made the difference between the runoff and extreme wing, and we need to avoid that. So it is part of our agenda to reunite the opposition. It is part of our agenda to bring the opposition back to its values. It is part of our agenda to make the opposition realize the ratio why it was formed, why we formed in the first place. Once we appreciate that, and once we appreciate and cherish diversity, then we are on our way to running this country. We are there as the MDC to take over governmental power through peaceful, democratic, and constitutional means. Govern differently and change the lives of the Zimbabwean people for the better. We want you who are in the diaspora to come back home in full freedom and pursue opportunity. This is a land of great opportunity, and we have a good infrastructure, the road network, not the quality of the roads, but the road network is very, very good. We have a good climate. Every mineral is in, or almost every mineral is in this country. We have an educated populace. When I visited London, I was fascinated by the number of Zimbabweans who are doing great jobs there. And they can come home and develop their own country. But there must never be responsibility without rights. That is why we are saying the diaspora must be given the right to vote. But coming to the opposition, we must unite the opposition, and we will play our part. And we have already started playing our part in very, very small terms, I should say. But we are now talking to each other.
Okay, Senator Mwonzora, I'm sorry, I have to close the live questions. We've passed an hour. So what I'll ask you is, if possible, we can have you back before the Extraordinary Congress, maybe Friday or Thursday, depending on where you are. So, Ngoma Raymond, please leave the studio, because I want to clear everyone out of the studio now, because we need to close out. Mukoma Masimba, you want to say something? I'm giving you 1 minute, and then we can wrap it up with, I think we've got one more person here. I can see the last person that we've got. But Mukoma Masimba, please ask your question.
Thank you very much. Hello?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Thank you very, very much. Right, you said 1 minute. Dagi is my brother. I know it's late in Zimbabwe, but he wants to be, he's trying to be, to fix up things. So, I don't want 1 minute. I demand 10 minutes, because I want to talk to my brother Dagi.
Go ahead.
I don't know if you can allow me that. Number one, Mkoma Dagi. Magadini. Mkoma Dagi. Nondiziva. Asi mnowandirwa. The last time I spoke to you, I took my glass of wine in Mujiti Minimana, South Africa. That's the last time I spoke to you. That was maybe 2 years ago, I think. I got to university, just to let you know. Mkoma Dagi. Look at Australia, Mkoma Dagi. Right? Abogora Zemba yangu first. Mkoma mbono imba mninga wen mugota mangu. Okay? Then I'll talk from there. How do I fix these cameras? I want to change this camera like opposite. Hold on. Just slowly. Okay. Mkoma Dagi. Mkoma Dagi no imba mninga wen Australia. Okay? The MDC member. The MDC. In fact, the organizing secretary of Australia. Jini wacharipana. Asa tobo ziwani. Right? It shows that nakurongeka. Domba mangu. You think I'm lying? Wallet yangu irapa ishi. Wallet yangu irapa. Dombe yangu Dagi. It is reality. Maziba nuzi ziwe. Dombe deni mangu. Kapifumu kanga rapa. See? Anyway, take Kenya now. Mkoma Dagi. Here comes the question. Tine basa Mkoma. Garisa bonye pirani. Apa tina time man. 3 billion time. Right? Zimbabwe is suffering. Zimbabwe is crying. Right? Mkoma Dagi. In short, get from Mkoma Masimba. I am the Facebook legend. Right? Okay? Facebook. Now, Mkoma Dagi. I've learned past is past, right? We can't go back and change it. I've learned to accept the past is past. Today is today. And today will take me tomorrow. The problem ndiri kuona pana Mkomadhagi naChamisa in our past, right? Past is past. Even tisingadanani, we can still work together. You know, the professionalism. Mkomadhagi, I was in MDC organizing secretary with Australia. Then I resigned. Why did I resign? And I wanted to go Mkomadhagi. My WhatsApp acho, my group, my donations. Sure, nika donate kuti donate mari yenhambo yemwana watsvangirai. Takati ini munopengeremi akarohwa kwajava ndowakwasha vachaona java. Isusu tiri anani panhamo ipapo. Tiri kuzouya after kana panzi pashayikwa hupfu tozopindira tifanira kumhanya. Takanetsana nevanhu kuno kuStella kuno. Right? My donation donate. Then Mkomadhagi. Munokuziva kuti Mkomadhagi ndiri prophet. Ndaa prophet in fact. I'll tell you why nchidaro. And I want Mkomadhagi to tweet. I want to tweet about this one and ask people. They have Twitter there. For COVID, the spirit of Winnie Mandela.
Okay, I think we got the point.
Yes.
The point was made where he said the dispute between Chamisa and yourself is past.
Yes.
And it's not something that you should be looking at the past, but now looking at how to resolve going forward. I think this is an important point. And what is your response to that? Sorry, Mr. Senator, are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, I was saying that the point was made where Masimba said the dispute between yourself and Chamisa is past, but we Zimbabweans want a solution going forward. And what you have said, maybe it did not satisfy him. He wants to know how we are going to bring that dispute to an end between yourself and the MDC Alliance. Because everyone here is agreed that you are going to win this election next week. Koma Raymond, they said the same. A lot of other people are saying the same. When you become the president of the MDC-T, what are the next steps you're going to take?
Oh, thank you very much. First of all, I want to acknowledge my brother Masimba there. I regret that he is living in those conditions, and hope that maybe one day you'll be able to come back home, resume a normal life. That is what we want. I also know that there are a lot of people working in the diaspora not out of choice. Either it is the economics that has driven them there, or it is the politics and so on. So we want to be able to one day get the Zimbabweans here. As I said, that my relationship with Nelson is not personal. The dispute that you saw was not personal. It was a dispute of whether we should continue flouting rules. We should continue flouting our constitution. We want to run a country with a constitution. And we must first of all show that we can follow our own little constitution, if I may use that term. So we need to work together. Yes, past is past. He is right. Mandela said the same. We must not allow bitterness. We must not allow bitterness to cloud our judgment. And therefore, Nelson and myself must work on what is in the best interest of the Zimbabwean people. So assume that I become the leader on Saturday. Whatever I am going to do is what is in the best interest of the opposition, in the best interest of the Zimbabwean people. And if we can talk to ZANU-PF, which in 2008 was butchering our people, 300 of our youngsters were killed, and we went to the table and we discussed with them. What more a discussion with our brothers and sisters? But I need to warn my friends within the MDC Alliance that the continual use of hate language does not help matters. I think we have seen enough fighting. We have seen enough bloodletting in quotation marks within the opposition. And it is time to be more constructive. It is time to appreciate each other. Yes, I understood why it was convenient to label me ZANU-PF, because that would make the people angry and angry towards me. But there is always a limit to propaganda. And I don't think we should use propaganda on each other. We know each other. We've worked with each other for a very, very long time. And we have won together. We have lost together. And we have a lot in common with one another. The behavior of the MDC Alliance people at this Congress will set a tone for future working together, future engagements. If you come and try to destabilize the Congress, it makes things worse. We don't want to keep on fighting. We don't want to be recalling people and so on. It is regrettable that things like that have to happen. But also, let's also stop using our people as cannon fodder. You know that they will be recalled. You know that they will get punishment, but you still induce them to behave in that way. But again, as Masimba, my brother, says, past is past. Masimba remembers me having a drink with him. That is true. I remember that day as well. And my son was at the University of Pretoria. That is true. My son Bruce was at the University of Pretoria. So he has the memory of our work together. I hope to see him again, and I hope to share with him another glass, maybe at my presidential offices, if I win. He is welcome. But importantly, we need to unite the opposition. For us to unite the opposition, we must end hate language. We must end propaganda. We must end this trying to score cheap political points. Either me bring that to Nelson or Nelson bring that to me. That is counterproductive. Doesn't help anybody. And I want to say that I pledge to the Zimbabweans, to the opposition, that I will do my part together with my team to unite the opposition.
Okay, Senator Mwonzora, it's really been a pleasure having you today. And I would like to thank your team for setting up this discussion. I want to say that people really want to know more about what you're thinking, what you're planning, and I'm extending this platform to you the same way I've extended it to Nelson Chamisa and his people. We need a media that can bring our leaders to the people. And I thank you for humbling yourself and bring yourself to such a platform like mine, a humble one. You've already spent 1 hour and 20 minutes with us. And I know that you need to take a rest. Do you go to church? Are you going to church tomorrow?
Yes, I go to church, but unfortunately tomorrow I may not be able to make it. I have to go to Gweru. We are rounding up the campaigns, but my wife will go to church for me. Okay. But I do go to church. I do go to church. Yes. It's only
yes, and I see the beautiful pictures behind you of your family. Is it true that Nelson Chamisa was one of the people at your wedding?
Yes, of course. Nelson was one of the people at my wedding, together with the prime minister then, Morgan Tsvangirai. We did our white wedding ceremony 17 years after we had gotten married. And that was very good. We have been blessed with beautiful kids, intelligent kids, and so on. And we are a happy family. And I want to thank my wife and my daughter, Betha, and my sons for keeping me company during the time that I think I was at my lowest in life. And I'm so happy.
Okay, how do you feel when people don't listen to you and they throw out insults like this, like what Promise is doing. How do you feel? How do you deal with someone who doesn't listen to you?
Well, first of all, one must never lose hope in telling people what they stand for. People always eventually listen. And when you see people insulting and so on, it means that they may not have a real point to criticize you on. It's part of the culture that was started by Robert Mugabe, and it's part of his legacy, and people copy that. But it is regrettable. But I have said, I am determined to help change the politics of this country from the politics of hate, politics of anger, violence, to politics of rational disputation. Prove me wrong, and so on. If you call me names, it doesn't advance the cause. And sometimes name calling, I've adopted a philosophy. Name calling doesn't really matter. If you call me a pig, I am not a pig. I'm not a real human being, and so on. So I think saying hateful things hurts the people who say more than the people to whom things are said. It's regrettable, but we have to live with it. I have developed these things.
I see. And I really appreciate the kind of demeanor that you've got. I've been talking to you for a very, very long time. You always answer my questions when I call you. And I think many people can testify that you are the kind of person that is reachable and accessible to the people. Is there anything else you want to say before we close?
Yeah, I just want to speak to the MDC family at this point in time. We are going to our Congress. This is a contest. It is not a fight. We must always remember how to conduct ourselves. We are a part of excellence. You are because I am. I am because you are. It is time that we bring back the legacy of Morgan Tsvangirai and our forebears. And right now we are competing against each other. We must never allow tribalism, sexism, racism, and regionalism in our politics. We will forever be comrades and friends. So your party is in safe hands, and your Congress is coming on the 19th. Let's use this opportunity responsibly. And let's congratulate the person who they have won, and also commiserate with those who may not have succeeded. And I want to say to you that even if I was to win, no one is going to be thrown away. And we are going to pursue dialogue with all the political actors in our country, in the government, and also within the opposition.
Okay, Senator Mwonzora, your number is on the screen. Anyone who wants to privately contact you, that is your number. They can arrange to talk to you on that number. And since we're already going into the last few days of the Extraordinary Congress elections coming up, I am going to be having a number of the candidates coming up. I hope to talk to Dr. Thokozani Kupe if she's available sometime this week. And I would like to invite the other candidates, Komichi and Muzuri, my leaders. If you are watching this, WhatsApp me on my number and we can arrange to have you here. We don't want people to say we gave Senator Mwonzora a platform and not everyone else. And I know that Pugen has already written me during this live, and he also wants to come here tomorrow. So let's see if he's going to be able to come here and talk about their campaign. I like what you have done this time around, where the candidates have been speaking. I saw posters, and I think this is a good thing that is happening in the MDC-T. So, as I said, tomorrow we're going to have one more of the candidates, and the other candidates are open. They are welcome to come here, and also we'll give them an hour to talk. And I would like to invite you before the actual Extraordinary Congress to come and answer more questions and to finalize. As you can see, there were so many people who wanted to talk to you. We didn't finish. So if you have time during the week, please feel free to contact me and we'll have another discussion. So
Thank
I think
you
this
so much.
brings, yes, this brings an end our discussion. And I wanted to ask you if this is all, if you have concluded. I know I've asked you a lot of long questions.
Yeah, I think I've concluded, and I'm very excited that you are going to give my contestants equal opportunity. In fact, I had suggested to them that we should have a live debate, the four of us, and so on. So it is fair that they should be given that opportunity as well. I will be very happy to be on your show again, say Wednesday or Thursday. That will be most welcome.
Okay, fantastic. And for your own information, I've never talked to Dr. Kupe in my whole life. So I'm hoping that this will be my first time to talk to her before we go to this election, because everyone is saying, no, Senator Mwonzora are going to win, Senator Mwonzora are going to win. And maybe other people feel that they are going to win. So let's give them a chance and see what happens.
Well, you haven't talked to Dr. Kupe?
In my whole life, I've never.
Okay, she's a very nice person, I think. I think she's very nice. We get along very well. We visit each other, we drink coffee together.
Okay, that's fantastic. Right, I think let us wrap it up here, and we'll see you again either on Wednesday or on Thursday. And my invitation stands to the other two candidates, Mwonzora and...
The other three.
Oh, yes, yes.
The other three.
Dr. Kupe has already accepted, so we only have, is Senator Mwonzora and Senator Komichi.
Senator. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, sir. And I'll see you again on Wednesday or Thursday. And to everyone who's watching from home, good night. And thank you very much for spending so much time with us.
Thank you.